It is Tuesday, August 6th. This will be day 99 or 100 of me heading up to the land. I went up last week and the clutch on my mower blew up. So we'll reference that. Long story short, I'm headed up today and I have the wetland / land specialist coming just to give one final review of my property and walk it before we submit the septic design to the state of Vermont. Just want to make sure all our stuff's in line and we're ready to get approved if we do submit it and not open up a can of worms. Additionally, I have a lady coming by around noon to go to my neighbor's house and talk to them and just get a head count on how many adult cats will need to get spayed and neutered. And I think she's going to help me corral all of them on August 16th and get all of them neutered, including the new kitties. So hopefully we can put an end to the cat breeding problem once and for all. And I won't have to worry about finding homes for kittens next year. So, about to drive up and get things going. I will say it is the first day that's almost feeling towards fall. It's been like so hot and humid here in Vermont, which has been awesome. It's been in the 80s, 70% humidity, which is kind of sticky, but for swimming and cliff jumping and just enjoying summer while we have it, it's been pretty ideal. But it definitely cooled off yesterday and it's going to be a nice day to just be up at the land. So let's get it.
I would be building right here, so basically in the same footprint as to where the old trailer was. And I think Lonnie had the septic somewhere over here on that diagram, but
okay,
it's obviously going to have to be a mound system, whatever.
well, this is crowfoot, which is a wetland plant. And this is a juncus, which is a wetland plant. And
yeah, there's a lot of clay underneath here, so it definitely retains moisture pretty seriously.
yeah, it's modeled to the surface, which means the seasonal groundwater, seasonal high water table is pretty close to the surface. And the modeling, the red specks in the soil, only occurs when when the water is near the surface during the growing season, because it's mediated by microbes that are only active during that season. So
That's probably not a good sign.
no, it's not. It's full of water right now. So here, I would suggest that to do the wetland delineation that you let the grass grow a little bit, and I come back in a couple of weeks. I mean, we're past the fast growing season. It's all growing pretty slow now, but
Yeah,
you need to figure out exactly what this is and what this is in order to delineate the wetland. Right now it's looking as if the wetland begins right here.
Yep.
Superficially. This is sensitive fern, which is a wetland plant.
Okay.
This is a willow, which is a wetland plant. Aspen here is both wet and dry.
So that's an aspen tree. That's a type of birch, correct?
Well, it's not a birch.
No?
But it's a, oh, I'm sorry. No, it is a birch. Yeah, I called it an aspen. It's a birch.
Okay.
And it's a, I'll have to look, but it's either, white or gray birch. Gray birch is a wetland birch, so white birch is not. This is thin leaf plantain. I think it's a weedy thing.
Yeah.
And it's dry.
Plantain's good for Native American holistic remedies. I've heard.
Good, but that's probably the wide plantain.
Oh, you're right.
The wide
it's the
leaf.
wider one. It's not the skinny one.
And then this is bed straw, which is, of course, what the pioneers put in their pillowcases and
No way.
beds. Oh, it's so numerous. It's all that white stuff you see out in fields.
Yep.
But this happens to be a dry species one. Gallium mulligo, which is an upland scallium. Many of them are wetter. So anyways, I suspect we're in the same sort of situation here with the wetland being down
So
there.
yeah, there's a drainage on this side over the slope that runs down into the creek. And then on the left, on this side of the property, there's another that goes all the way down to the creek as well. So this is kind of like partitioned off by these two creeks that flow into the main creek.
So, like I said, I would let this veg grow up some so that I can formally do the delineation. I'm afraid, you know, it looks like wetlands, so in order for me to be sure, it'd be better if the grasses were a little bit higher.
Yep. Yeah, I got it mowed about a month ago by Mark, so. If this does get deemed as a wetland, which it sounds like it will be, am I kind of just shit out of luck with developing it, or in terms of getting a septic?
Well, you'll have to put your septic somewhere else. This is all dry probably up here.
Yeah,
So,
drier.
well, yeah, non-wetland, but there is a 50-foot buffer around wetlands. So in order to disturb areas within 50 feet of it, I mean, you can brush hog it because you've been doing it forever, but in order to put like a septic system in, that's when you need the permit and, you know, a separate wetlands permit, and that costs money. It's not a whole lot of money, but, and also the state won't let you do it if you've got dry land somewhere else where you could put the septic.
Okay.
So, you know, once I do the wetland delineation, there'll be a 50-foot buffer, and then you can disturb anything you want.
Hopefully we can find a space for that.
Yeah. So is this trailer something you're using now?
I am. It's just temporary shelter. I sleep in there in the winter, fall. There's a wood stove.
Yeah. So this dense soil
Yep.
is really mainly silt. Silt is so small that
Just compacts.
it does. There's some clay in here. This is called a loam. It has silt, sand, and clay in it.
Yep.
It's mapped as a silt loam, I believe. It's got a little more platiness or blockiness to it, you know, like I'm holding this piece and it's breaking. So that means there's a little more clay in it than most of the areas around here that I've looked at that have this Cabot soil, is what it's
Calling it Colonel Cabot, right?
Colonel Cabot, right?
I tried to find as much information online about that. I could finally hard find anything.
Well,
I did my own research because I was getting really worried this winter, like that I buy a piece of land that I'm not going to be able to develop.
well, let's keep walking. Like I said, the plants also have to be wetland plants. And see, this plant is dying out as we go up.
Yep. Yeah, it's more grass, less of this.
Yeah, less of that. Still some of it, but along with it is pea or vetch, and that's an upland. Clover, which is upland.
Okay.
The plantain, which is upland, that I already talked about. But we need some of the grasses to grow up a little bit higher, so I can be sure they're non-wetland plants. But I think they are. That's again that juncus, which is wetland. It's just because there's a couple of them doesn't mean.
Okay.
You know, you look at the dominant plant. And
Yep. What's the majority?
yep. I think you're okay. So let's keep walking. You're probably good up there. Where's your water gonna go?
He has the well. See where the storage container is?
Yeah.
He has it like maybe 15 feet this way from there.
So, you know, obviously you need separation between your
Yep.
well and your
Yep.
septic. This may be a wetland grass. It's more than likely that this is phalaris, reed canary grass, which is a wetland grass, and it's pretty hard to say it's not dominant here.
Yep.
However, it may just be this patch right here, and that may be something different. You can tell by looking at it, it looks a little different. If this were a separate wetland here that was small, the state would probably say it's class 3 and would not regulate it.
So I could put a
Well,
well,
maybe. We'll
maybe.
see. We're just starting
Yep.
in this plot here. Guess I should look at soil, but its topography suggests that it's going to be drier here, but it is drier
looks
here.
drier.
Yep.
Yep.
This is good soil so far. Let's hope it continues down. Got to go a little deeper. The more color you've got, the drier it is usually.
That's good to know.
All right, so that's where we're getting hydric soil. This is wetland soil, or the soil that has to be present to have a wetland. I guess it occurred at maybe, what, 9 inches or 10 inches? So this area here, let it grow up. I'll come back and do the veg. But the soils will have to be keyed out to figure out if they're hydric or not. They're right on the edge.
What does that mean? What is keyed out?
Well,
Is that when you do like an actual soil test, or?
there's a dichotomous key which gives you choices to make at each level within the soil, each profile as you go down. And if it meets the criterion of hydric, then when you go through those choices, then it's a wetland soil. You still have to have the wetland plants, but you probably have the wetland plants here if this is reed canary grass and it's dominant. This is a mint that I think is can qualify as a wetland plant. And then this is again is that bed straw, which is not. This is probably something that is not. This I think is Timothy grass. Yeah, I think maybe you're okay here. And you just have a patch of the Polaris there, which if it's isolated, like I said, the state won't consider this significant wetland. My issue is whether or not this grass is there, there, and then that's probably a wetland down there, I'm thinking.
That's, so where those two big bushes are, the grass ones, that's where the little drainage ditch is that goes down there and then cuts into my neighbor's woods and dips down to the creek.
Well, I'm really curious to know what this grass is. It looks like
Those big bushels?
Yeah.
I don't know, but they're cool as hell.
I don't think it's native. Doesn't look native. This is the crowfoot that was a wetland plant. This is the narrow-leaved plantain, which is not. The grass doesn't look like it's a wetland grass. I think it's Timothy or something, which would be good. This grass going uphill looks good. This isn't a wetland grass. I'm pretty sure this is wetland, but you know, there's so little of it that I don't sporadic. Call it dominant. This is probably all going to be Timothy grass, which is good.
What kind of plant is this?
Kind of got soft leaves.
Oh, that doesn't even look native.
No?
No, I think this escaped from a garden or something. I don't know what that is, so I think it's a garden plant. That looks like a garden plant to me. Oh, here's your... This is a flower, probably of this.
Yep.
And this is Timothy.
Okay, so that's
like
a
I
good
thought
sign.
it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, when this is fully grown, this is everywhere.
That's good news.
Yeah.
All right, so let's let this grow a little bit before I do a lot of work.
This is one of the flowers that grows
Yeah,
like
that's
crazy.
a crowfoot flower.
Yep.
That's this
What's
plant
that plant?
here. This is probably Ranunculus acris, which is narrow-leaved crowfoot. Buttercups.
Buttercups.
The other names. Yeah.
Buttercups. That's what it is. This is where I'd build.
Yeah. No, I think you're okay here. I thought you meant over there, and that could be a problem.
Yeah. Because I mean, if the septic has to go anywhere in here, like that's not an issue. I just hope there's a spot it can go.
The chance that any wetland that they find out here, like the little one I showed you over here, or the one where this grass was, would also be considered class 3 as long as it's not contiguous to a more substantial wetland, in which case they'll write it off.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to think right now that there's a class 2 wetland that's going to interfere with your plans. The only issue is that there's a minimum cutoff for calling something, or a maximum cutoff for calling something class 2, which is regulated, and that's a ½ acre. So if this wetland here ended up connecting with something over there and ended up being a ½ acre in size, then, you know, the state may not be able to say it's class 3, even if they want to, because it doesn't really seem like it has any important function. But let's let the grass grow, and at this point, I'd still be optimistic if I were you. So.
Okay, that's good to hear. Well, that went good. Definitely learned a lot. This whole wetland septic thing, this winter I had so much anxiety. Did I buy a piece of land I won't be able to develop? But bottom line is, Jeff said he thinks there's 30% chance of things not going in my favor. Basically, as you guys heard, there's class 3 and class 2 wetlands, and class 3 don't need regulation, class 2 need regulation. So he said we need to wait for the grass to grow taller so he can properly identify all the plant life in the field. And then he's going to do a delineation of what he sees to be wetlands and what's not. And then we'll get Shannon, who works for the state, to come and confirm what Jeff says. So this is definitely a big learning experience, and I hope it's informative for any of you guys. I mean, most of you probably don't live in Vermont, but if you do live in Vermont or are planning on buying land and developing, this could be super helpful for you to just learn how picky the state of Vermont is. I mean, as he said, it's literally the hardest state in the 50 states to develop, to build the land, which is kind of a bummer to hear, honestly. The state has gotten harder and harder to make a life in, especially as, you know, a 30-something-year-old Vermonter who, you know, I do well for myself, but I'm certainly not made of money, and I'm working with the resources, time, and abilities that I do have, and the land. So that was definitely awesome. It was cool to get an idea of what the actual plants are. Like, I had no idea. Now I have a better idea of what's growing in the field, and a better idea of what indicates wetlands, but still no solid answers, but I have at least some hope. So he'll probably come back here in 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll do a follow-up, and we'll get that dialed in. But all in all, just, it's nice to be making progress, and I don't have enough money to get a well drilled right now anyway, so I'm just checking boxes right now of due diligence and things that will need to be taken care of before I even dream of building a house on this land. You know, it's kind of frustrating. Vermont, I appreciate the level of conservation, but at the same time, it puts a lot of hurdles and roadblocks for people like myself that want to just buy a piece of land and build their dream. And now I'm going down to the river to set up a trail camera to see if any animals drink water down there. And the cat lady's coming at noon. I'm probably gonna install the toilet seat on the outhouse and just making moves. Back again. The river is high right now. We're gonna get rain, rain, rain. Look at that. Ordered these solar panels a while ago. Hopefully they still have a charge. Yep, fully charged. That's good. Let's see this one. Yep, fully charged. Nice. Good stuff, Tacticam. Trail camera, SD cards, all the goodies. It's got a nice straight view across. And if anyone's creeping down here, it'll get shots of them too, so
We'll catch ya.
Trail cam, panel, cord, mounting bracket. Alright, first things first, get the trail camera mounted. The only problem with this spot is will the solar panel get a good amount of sun, but the sun moves in this direction, so in theory it should point directly at this tree. I guess we'll get a better idea. I might have to cut this tree down right here, hanging over. Put a little more light in here. Cool. There's like a little runoff stream that cuts over this little plateau. I gotta make a hangout zone over here because technically I own the small shoulder of this side of the river, which is more land to enjoy. Seems to be getting a good connection to the sun. I will say my experience with Tacticam has been pretty great. They work awesome. Put that in there, screw the gasket on so that water doesn't damage the battery. Wrap the slack around the panel to minimize the amount of cable we see, just to maintain some camouflage. Should be pretty perfect. Well, open this little rubber gasket on the bottom. Alright. Hit the power button. Yeah, there we go. We're green, baby. We're gonna set it up and see the angle we've got. Well, the nice thing about all this rain is it cleans all the algae off the rocks, so they're not slippery. They're actually got a good foothold. I'm going to set up my last trail cam right here. I just need to clear some of this tree branches so that they don't trigger the trail camera when the wind blows. Keeping my eyes peeled for poison ivy. I'm pretty sure that's all poison ivy. Yeesh. Yeesh, yeesh, yeesh. I don't even want to step in here. I really don't know if this is poison ivy. I hope it's not. Question is this poison ivy? I feel like I should know. It's growing like a vine, leaves of 3, serrations. I really don't know. I'm definitely gonna have to clean myself off in the river after this. Cool. Got Techno. This is the best stuff to get the oils off your body. I'm gonna clean my legs just because I gotta go to Montana for a 5-day shoot, and I did not want to be itchy. The old moment of truth. So when I jigsawed this hole, I definitely made it pretty big. I bought the biggest toilet seat I could find. Figured if I put a toilet seat over it, it might cover all the gaps
Let's see how big this sucker is. Of course, it came with fittings that will not work on this, but well, maybe they will. Oh, look at that. Perfect. That's what I'm talking about, son. The question is, that should be a very dialed fit. It's actually perfect. I'm super stoked. Now I need to figure out how to use these. I've never done a toilet before. Woo. I did a good job with this. I've got the metal plate for the pee spray and whatever, so the wood doesn't get stinky and rotten. I'm pretty proud of what I accomplished, considering I have no skills. Let's get our pilot holes so we know where this lines up. Alright, we got our pilot holes drilled. Now we're gonna auger them bigger. I don't know what I'm talking about, so disregard my unknowing vocabulary. To auger it a little thicker or drill it. Don't drop the nut in the water. That's the key, because I will not be getting that back. That's hand tightened. Yeah. Oh yeah, so it won't prop all the way back until I snap those off, which I didn't know you do that on toilets. This is made to be broken off according to these directions. Got to get my tools. As you hold seat cover centered on bolt, tighten top off with wrench until they snap off. Oh, so you just keep tightening until it breaks. Like so. This one's probably only a crank or two off. Yep, there we go. Caps go down. And we are in business, folks. Look at that. That's awesome. I am stoked. My hole ended up not being too big. Let's give you an old test run. Oh, yeah. Admittedly, I should have scooched it forward more, but I'll get a squatty potty and you can just sit right here and... Well, all in all, it's been a good day. It's been short, but it's been good. It's a little chilly this morning. Kind of gave me the feeling that fall is certainly not far off, which it is not. Got the toilet seat on the outhouse, and that thing's pretty dialed. I mean, I just sat down and put her to use, and I almost don't want to put a front door on it because the view down the field is beautiful. My one concern is the winter, how much snow will blow in there, but maybe I'll extend the walls out more and leave the front open. It's kind of a scenic throne to take a dump on. The cat lady Jennifer came over. We met with both my two neighbors that have all the unneutered and unspayed cats, and that's getting sorted in the next 2 weeks. So
things are going good. You know, as with anything, my timeline and expectations of when my septic design will be done and well drilled are not in line with what my expectations were, but that's just kind of life, and I would say it's not really at all surprising. It's just going to take time, and that's all right because I need time to save money and work hard. So yeah, it's a great day. I appreciate everyone watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Well, hello there. It seems that you made it to the end of my video. I appreciate you greatly for watching. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Chester says thanks and hi, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.